A new woman has come forward to accuse Roy Moore of having an inappropriate relationship with her when she was a teenager. Beverly Young Nelson said in an emotional press conference on Monday that she first met Moore when he was district attorney and she was a high school student who was waiting tables at the Oldie Hickory house. She was just 15 at the time, and soon after she turned 16 Moore, then 31, offered Beverly a ride home one cold winter night, she said, which was the night of the alleged incident. Beverly said that after getting in the car, Moore drove her to the back of the parking lot and pulled up next to a dumpster, where he parked and then began to grope Beverly's breasts. She said that she asked him to stop and that when she tried to get out of the vehicle he locked the door and grabbed her neck in an attempt to pull her head down towards his crotch. Emotional, Beverly Young Nelson, above, claims that in 1977 she was groped by Roy Moore, who then tried to force her into performing oral sex. Patterns emerge. She met the then district attorney when she was 15 and working as a waitress at the Oldie Hickory house after school, Moore above on Saturday. Noted, Moore signed Beverly's yearbook one day at work, writing at the end, "Love, Roy Moore," above. "I got into his car in the passenger seat. He began driving. I thought he would get on the highway, but instead he drove to the back of the restaurant," said Beverly O. the night she was allegedly assaulted by Moore. "I was not immediately alarmed as there was an exit from the back of the restaurant to the street and he could drive from there to my house without getting on the highway. However, instead of driving to the street he stopped the car and parked his car in between the dumpster and the back of the restaurant where there were no lights. The area was dark and deserted. I was alarmed and I immediately asked him what he was doing." Moore at that point said nothing and began to grope Beverly, she claimed, a story she previously shared with her mother and then man who is now her husband. "Instead of answering my question, Mr. Moore reached over and began groping me, putting his hands on my breasts," said Beverly. "I tried to open my car door to leave, but he reached over and locked it so I could not get out. I tried fighting him off, while yelling at him to stop, but instead of stopping he began squeezing my neck, attempting to force my head onto his crotch. I continued to struggle. I was determined that I was not allow him to force me to have sex with him. I was terrified he was also trying to pull my shirt off. I thought that he was going to rape me. I was twisting and struggling and begging him to stop. I had tears running down my face." Beverly was able to get out of the car soon after, claiming Moore told her to keep quiet because no one would believe her if she did share her story. He said, You're just a child." And he said, "I am the district attorney of Etowah County. And if you tell anyone about this, no one will ever believe you," said Beverly as she wiped away tears. Her boyfriend, who was initially supposed to pick her up but had been running late, pulled up to the restaurant soon after Beverly made her way out of the vehicle.